sure.
Yeah. All right. Welcome, everyone, to another DeFi Raiders AMA. My name's Relentless. Today I'll be talking to Sterling / not Sterling / nobody knows who he is, and Captain Woody from the Sterling finance team. So first, thanks, guys. Appreciate you joining. Thanks for your time. Looking forward to chatting with you. Do you guys want to go ahead and give kind of an introduction, a little background on yourselves?
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm Sterling, not Sterling. I am co-founder of Sterling Finance with Woody over here. My background mostly started off uh, making making memes, I guess, and yeah. Well, in terms of professional life and real life, I'm actually an operational due diligence analyst, and basically, I find myself running this thing with Woody.
Yeah, and my name is Captain Woody, I guess. My real name's Kevin, and I co-founded Sterling Finance with Sterling, and it's just been we came from mostly the Phantom ecosystem, but we've kind of fallen in love with the layer 2 ecosystem. So Optimism, Arbitrum. Looking forward to ZK Sync as well, ZK, whatever. Wherever you're from, that might differ, but but we've launched on Arbitrum, and it's been a really fun time, and just looking forward to the future.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I've actually been familiar with Sterling, not Sterling, for a while from some former Phantom groups. So cool to see you over on Arbitrum doing work over there too. So cool. First, I don't want to belabor the point of what a 3-3 is, but do you guys just kind of want to give like a brief overview of what Sterling is in case anyone who's tuning in has not been paying attention?
Essentially, if anybody is familiar with how Solidly works and the original one on Phantom is essentially a model wherein people can direct incentives towards pools and by using a VE NFT. And essentially to get those votes in and incentivize people to actually participate and vote, there's something that happens that there's essentially bribes, a bribing mechanism involved, sort of like Curved, but with NFTs mixed in there. I am doing a terrible job explaining this. I'm sorry, it's been a long day, but I'm not sure if you want to add something in there too, Woody. I may be forgetting something.
No, I think you cut it down pretty good. The Solidly model is it's obviously gaining a lot of popularity across quite a few chains as well. There's also another couple of forks as well on Arbitrum, but it really puts liquidity to use a lot more efficiently than say like a normal cookie cutter DEX.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. And I think for the most part, with the Solidly season or Solidly fork season kind of kicking off, that people are kind of super familiar with, how it works. And especially how it should work, as we've seen some of the upgrades of some of the other projects that have launched. So like I said, I didn't think it was too necessary to belabor the point too much, but a couple questions I kind of want to get into. First, if you guys are cool with it, let's talk about kind of the launch. And I know you guys kind of had like a little bit of a sticky launch, not necessarily terrible or anything like that, but just kind of, any lessons that you guys learned, things you may, wish you had done differently or could have done differently for how that went.
Well, it's essentially the first project that I'm running, right? So there's a bit of a learning curve on how to handle certain situations, and some mistakes were made along the way, including trusting some people maybe I shouldn't have. I do regret the way things ended up turning up in the sense that I really wanted everybody to get a fair chance at participating, and I really also did not expect the hype train and all these people coming out of nowhere that I've never seen to just like join and participate. And I just want to reiterate that I do apologize if you were one of the early people who were trying to get in at a more fair price or at an earlier price. Um, it's not how it was supposed to be, and if you were affected by that, I apologize to you.
Yeah, and I think it's important that you note that one, yes, it is your first project. There's a lot of things, um, but then it's also just kind of understanding. People need to understand just in general when you are buying a brand new token at launch. It's hard to have a perfect launch. It's hard to beat bots. Sometimes, especially at the very beginning of a launch. Um, so I mean, there's also it's got to be understood that there's some end user responsibility that people have to be willing to take for not necessarily maybe not understanding what they were getting into, or maybe just kind of not sitting back and waiting to play it, because the vast majority of people who are who've been around in the space for a long time will tell you never to buy at launch. If you're
I
around for DeFi summer, you know that wholeheartedly. So
I absolutely agree, and I was telling people just wait for emissions. I wasn't trying to get set anybody up. Uh, Anytime anybody asked me, I told them I recommend that you wait and be patient. But again, I take full responsibility for what happened, and yeah.
well, I think you guys recovered pretty well, pretty quickly, especially if you are kind of checking the charts for how you guys have done since. So I think it's turned around and been pretty successful. Um, but what project has not had some sort of hiccup at some point, especially when it's their first project? So um, I think I think you guys handled it very well as a team, and we're very professional about it, by the way, with the things that you were saying in the Discord as these things happen. So
Thank you. All credits to Woody and Sunfire for handling people.
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's important. You got a good team around you, and Sunfire is a very good moderator. Has been around in a lot of different things, and definitely good at handling crisis management. So.
mhm.
All right, so cool. So let's. My next question is kind of, and I understand the general reasons for wanting to launch on Arbitrum, right? The money is flowing to Arbitrum, right? And that's where the builders are going and stuff like that. But with the amount of you guys were launching behind Solid Lizard, there's Ramsey's coming up, and then I know that the Velocimeter team from Kanto is looking to come over to Arbitrum as well. Why did you guys? What made you guys feel like you could be successful despite all this massive competition over on ARB?
um, I guess I'm stubborn. I also we were also planning on launching way before Solid Lizard happened. We found out actually the the lizard bomb actually dropped on us as we were like maybe a week away from launching. Uh, we didn't feel in a way threatened by them having a little bit of an advantage by launching a little bit before us. Just because we have so much community support and we have all our friends who are interested in making this work with us, and all our great partners who've been supportive despite all of this little drama that has been going on and all the little hiccups along the way. So shout out to all of them. Uh, but yeah, I feel like when it comes down to it, we have more grassroots support, I'd say, and we felt like we can take them on. And for Ramses, Dog is a great friend. Love the guy. I welcome. I welcome. The more competition, the better. I think it always strives to get us better products as users at the end.
Yeah, 100%. And healthy competition drives productivity, drives innovation. Um, and it keeps you kind of motivated, keeps you from getting comfortable. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I like competition personally too. I like to win. I like to try to win. I especially like friendly competition. But um, okay, so before we start talking about Sterling itself specifically, I meant to announce this at the beginning. Sorry, I'm so terrible about announcing giveaways in a timely manner or at the beginning. Woody, you had mentioned that you might want to do a giveaway. Do you want to announce what that giveaway is and then what the listeners need to do to win that?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about kind of leaving up the giveaway winner to you, but we were gonna give away for STR, unlocked STR for a winner. So I'm not sure if you do anything if you have any ideas for how to randomly select someone or um
Yeah, I can run. Well, we can either do like best question, post it in the comments, or I can run it through kind of a random name generator here towards the end. So whatever you want to do, it's fine with me.
Whatever works for you, honestly. Just don't give it to Boo because she's in my DMs making fun of me right now. So.
All right. Okay, Roger that. Yeah, we'll let me get. I might have to take some screenshots throughout just so everyone's aware. We'll do the random name generator, and then I'll take some screenshots here throughout just so that it's fair.
yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, that works for me.
All right, let me. Okay, so all right, so then let's continue here. Let's talk about, we talk about the Solidity model. Everyone's kind of familiar with it, but all the new forks that are coming up, like you guys, a lot of differences between the original models to actually, make these things work. So what kind of things did you guys change from the original model?
Well, we've done a couple of things differently. For example, we changed the locks for retail, as in any regular user, sorry, can go on the app and just lock for 8 weeks. I feel like 4 years is way too long for anybody to lock anything in crypto. There's like no way to know what the hell is going to happen in 4 years. So I felt like that was a little bit unfair from the original model. And I've picked up something from our friends at Equalizer. Uh, I I really like that. I really like the fact that they were locking for only 6 months. But even then, 6 months, I felt like that was still too long for any retail user to hold a token for. Nobody likes to be trapped in certain positions, so the way we've essentially re-engineered the whole thing is to be more retail friendly and also accustom the needs to direct emissions in a way that's beneficial for everybody. I feel like 8 weeks is still a little bit too long, but it's better than 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years. Another thing we've done, we've also like seen how Equalizer's tokenomics have been in work, and the way that they skyrocketed on Phantom, it was actually insane. So we decided to borrow a little bit from their designs with tokenomics and essentially slash it in half to some extent. Uh, Everything from emission scale to NFT locks basically were a little bit over the halfway mark, but yeah, we've inspired ourselves from a little bit from everywhere, I'd say, to make this thing.
Yeah, very cool. And yeah, and a couple of things you touched on there that I definitely want to talk about as we kind of launch into some of this stuff. So yeah, let's do a little bit of the tokenomic stuff, which are kind of some of your big changes here. So you touched on the 8 week locking. Um, my question there is, how does only doing an 8 week lock, right? So we talk, the theory is that the more people that lock, the better it is for the flywheel effect to take place. So how does just having an 8-week lock affect that kind of flywheel effect?
The most important aspect of this, I'd say, for me, is to not trap anybody into any position they don't want to be in. If you don't want to be locked for an extremely long amount of time in crypto, which is like anything above a year, I'd say, you could still get to experience the whole VE33 model and enjoy all its benefits. And if you find that whatever it is that you're currently earning is not does not meet your standards, you can always just wait out like 8 weeks, and you get all your tokens back, and you can move on. Our main also difference, I'd say, from other protocols is that we have custom 4-year locked NFTs for partners. We feel like for a protocol locking, I don't want to say locking for 4 years is not as bad, but essentially they can afford to take the L. But your average retail user, might want to experiment with our protocol without necessarily locking, I don't know, a third of all their savings in tokens for 4 years, and not even be sure that it's still going to be working by then.
Yeah. I mean, 4 years is a very long time to commit money, and I said it in one of my AMAs yesterday. I have a couple locked positions that are about 3 years away from unlocking, and I am quite confident that they will be worth less than they are now, which is already zero by the time they unlock. So
You might as well write them off.
Oh yeah, I did. I don't think I've even checked those positions in like 6 months. Um, I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing, So they're like, "Oh, you get locked for 4 years. It'll help the protocol." And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Not realizing like this is totally PvP. And I just became exit liquidity. So no big deal. Such is life.
Don't say this
Yeah,
to our
very cool.
partners, but technically they would be your exit liquidity. I didn't say that, but they are locked for 4 years. But we are also helping them grow their NFTs on a on an incremental basis. So all the NFTs they've gotten up to right now is a gift from us to them to encourage them to participate in the flywheel. So yeah, just want to put that out there.
Yeah. Well, I think long-term partnership locks, right? If you're looking at this from a business perspective, long-term partnership locks are a totally different story than the retail user locks. So, because you're trying to, kind of get certain behaviors from your partners, right, to really build the protocol. And you don't want people, we've seen it before, airdrops to partners and massive unlocked fees, and people come in at the very beginning, buy a token that's high, it dumps, and then it gets dumped on even more, and then you're left with nothing. So
Another thing,
yeah, I think.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think partner locks are totally different. So yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. I wouldn't want any partner to have a massive NFT from the get-go, which is why we started only by giving them 2,000 sterling in the locked NFT, and we plan on an ongoing basis to monitor what they do with it and weed out the bad actors in some sense, and just continuously help those ones who are actively participating in the ecosystem and helping the flywheel in some sense.
Yeah, makes total sense. So, all right, very cool. So it's a couple other things that you guys did. You're not rebasing, right? We have seen some of the projects that do the rebasing rewards. There's obviously some perks to that. But would you guys kind of like to explain for anyone who may not understand the difficulties that rebasing these rewards causes for new people coming into the ecosystem and trying to gain actual voting power, and how the rebasing mechanism kind of limits that?
Well, I think Hoops from Equalizer has done a really good job at explaining why, but I also think that it wouldn't make much sense for us to rebase you for locking 8 weeks, right? You can just I don't know, go touch grass for 8 weeks and your money's unlocked. It's not like really deep commitment that you're making here. So we didn't feel like it necessarily warranted a rebase here, just given the fact that we've shortened the lock time so much. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And honestly, I hadn't really thought about it that way, in regards to just the short term lock. So
Otherwise, you'd have
yeah,
just
that makes
one big
sense.
big whale come over and just lock, I don't know, 10,000 sterling and get a crazy rebase in 2 months and just unlock everything and sell it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Multiple ways to kind of game the system there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah, it makes total sense. Makes total sense. And then a couple other things, kind of in terms um, of your tokenomics here. I'm interested in kind of what you guys are looking at as far as your bribe matching, right? So you're going to do 10% bribe matching, but you have it's it's up to the team which bribes to match. What kind of things are you looking at in order for you to actually match those bribes, if that makes sense?
Well, we want to see you, like, we want to see partners bribe, essentially. If you're an if you actively bribe, you're actively logging, which we're going to be monitoring again, and you're just actively participating in the ecosystem as a whole, you'll be receiving those benefits. This is why we didn't want to put like strict terms onto it because it's really subjective, and some people might, think they'll be able to game it if we put out like specific terms out there. So just to avoid that, we want to be able to have the flexibility of saying, no, listen, we've given you a free NFT. All you've done is basically leech off the ecosystem. Uh, we want to be able to tell these people like no more. That's it, right? And I feel like that's more of a subjective thing, and people are pretty innovative when it comes to gaming the system, right? Like they always try to find a loophole here and there, and we wanted to cut that out from the get go, essentially, and be the ones who ultimately make the decision as to who and what qualifies as a good partner. And so far, they've all been great. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Yeah, it makes sense. I think it's important that you're looking for certain behaviors from the partners in order to to incentivize that. Um, because I mean that's kind of what this entire model depends on, right? Is the partnerships and the bribing and like them doing the right things. So you don't just want to be offering like the bribes just because they're partners if they're not actually feeding the ecosystem.
Absolutely, and we will not do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very cool, very cool. And then kind of your fee distribution here. So I know that you guys, you know, I know you can look at the white paper, everyone, if you want to see the actual fees. They're not very high. I think it's like 0.02 or zero point 0.2 or something like that. But what is the fee distribution as far as is the team getting any of the fees? Are those just going towards the bribers and LPs? What does that look like?
No, the team is absolutely not getting any fees. Like all the fees go to the VE NFT holder, no matter what lock you have, 4 years, 8 weeks, all those fees are going to you. We removed that part because we didn't think it was, we didn't want to collect that. I felt like that would break too much of that would break apart from the original model too much. And those fees belong to NFTs, man. Nobody should be taking them.
Yeah, I completely agree. So all of your payment is entirely dependent on the success of the project, right? Because it's just going to be the emissions from the from the team NFTs.
That's correct. Yeah, our payment is contingent upon the success of Sterling and is vested, and yeah.
Cool. And then so with that, with kind of the upfront capital or whatever, how were you guys able to fund this? Did you guys have like VCs or is this entirely team funded, self funded kind of thing?
I would say it's more like a collective group of people coming together, trying to help me because I'm crazy enough to want to launch the fourth Arbitrum solidly fork, uh, and personal funds as well from the whole team, but mostly Woody and
Yeah,
Sunfire. 'Cause-
that's I mean, I like that. I put, I'm trying to turn obviously DeFi Raiders into a successful kind of business model in a way, without being one of those like shill kind of weird marketing projects. But everything, I'm the same way, right? I put all my own money into trying to do a lot of this stuff. So I'm a big fan of teams that put their own money behind everything, because it kind of puts you in that box where you want to be successful because your money is behind it, and then you're not influenced by outside sources who are trying to direct the way that you do business. So I'm a big fan of that.
Absolutely. Plus,
So,
I want to see this thing work. I didn't name it after myself just to see it fail.
well, but you're not Sterling, so if it fails, you're good.
Benefit of the doubt, yeah. I thought of everything.
So many angles covered. Well done. All right. Is there anything other specifically tokenomics wise that you guys want to touch on?
All right, don't grill me for real because I'm about to start my second beer and I don't think I can handle hard questions.
Well, I mean, I looked through the basic tokenomics, and it's all pretty simple. I would ask, what kind of is your idea for how you're going to utilize the treasury?
Well, I was planning on it, having a little bit more time and messing around with that little marketing airdrop portion that we had outlined. But I haven't really had the time to do that ever since we started Sterling. We've all basically been overworked, and want to give a shout out to the team for putting up with all that. We're actually looking to expand now to offload a little bit of the workload essentially that has coming out of nowhere on all of us. And yeah, the a portion of it is supposed to be allocated to an airdrop, which is going to be essentially me making some silly tasks for people to do and make sure that they can't game them and get some tokens out of it in compensation for the I I don't want to label it as botched, but I'd say uh, the work the messy launch. I'd say like I probably shouldn't call it that, but yeah, that's really what it is. So once I get a little bit more time, I'll be able to uh, work with Woody and the rest of the team to hand out free tokens to everybody. After I torture you, obviously. Another portion of it is the bribe matching and all that boring partner stuff that nobody really wants to hear about and just wants to hear about the airdrop, I bet. But you can think of the treasury as essentially being slowly redistributed to the community and partners. That's the way I see it. It's not a, not, yeah, that's the way I see it.
All right, very cool. Let's see. Hold on, I just had this up, and I was gonna. All right, so I think that kind of really covers really what I wanted to talk about for generally your tokenomics model. It's not like you're necessarily reinventing the wheel, but just kind of want to get your thought process on how you're looking to do a few things. So I appreciate the clarity on some of that stuff. I do have a couple questions. Kind of, have you guys solved the NFT split merge function, or is that something you're looking at?
Just stay tuned for V2.
Roger that. When's V2? I need a hard date. I need a solid commitment. When to expect this? No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you. But no hard dates. Just want to do it right.
No, I'm just kidding. I know how dangerous it is in this space to commit to a hard date, because then you got 24 hours of your Discord blowing up with people upset why you didn't launch on the exact minute, right? Because it's obviously super simple. to do all this stuff.
I wish it was, but yeah.
Hey man, I can't code anything, so I'm not going to be one to criticize people launching projects and hiccups and any of that stuff. So I'm just lucky enough to be able to ask all the people who can build it, how they did it. So that's cool for me. So all right, so very cool. So I think we got a pretty thorough understanding. At this point, I think for the most part, everyone kind of understands the 3-3 model, and a lot of the updates that have come with from Equalizer, from you guys, from the other different models that have launched. So what do you guys? I know you have some pretty good partnerships. MCLB with everything. I mean, they're partnered with pretty much every one of these 3-3 projects on every chain. What other kind of partnerships have you not announced yet that you're about to, if you can, or anything you're super excited about that you kind of want to currently talk about?
Nothing that we can actually say right now, but we've been harassing constantly Lido because we have 1/3 of all the TVL on WSTE, and they're very hard to reach. If you guys can get to helping us reach to them, that would be great because I'm gonna stop incentivizing those pools pretty soon if they don't respond back. And yeah, reach out reach out to Lido for us, please.
I'll see what I can do. Yeah, they're some teams are just hard to get in contact with, for whatever reason. And I don't want to like throw shade at anybody here. That's not my intention, but yeah, some teams are much more responsive than others in this space, I've found.
Absolutely, but stay tuned for next week. We have a couple more to announce. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Looking forward to them. Let's see. And then I don't really want to ask about security. For anyone who's, I'll just cover this real quick. For anyone who wants to ask security questions, this is a fork of Velodrome and Solidly, so the need for audits is pretty unnecessary. That question's been asked in a few of these different, and I just kind of want to get ahead of that one. But I do have some other questions. What are your guys' thoughts on kind of going multi-chain from this, depending on the success of Arbitrum? Is there any other, chain? I know Wody had mentioned ZK earlier. What else are you guys kind of thinking of on that? Or is there are there certain gates you would have to meet with Sterling and the success of this before you would even consider going cross-chain?
Was that question?
Yeah,
Okay. Go ahead, Woody.
I think right now we're not looking at going cross chain or anything. We really just want to focus on Arbitrum for now, and making it the best iteration of Solidly as possible on Arbitrum. We're more focused on moving towards a V2 as soon as possible, and then we're not saying no forever, but for right now we're definitely just trying to stay on Arbitrum, and then in the future we'll definitely consider it though.
All right, very cool, very cool. And then is there anything else that you guys would kind of like to build in conjunction with this? Right, that's something that I haven't asked anyone yet that's launched one of these. Are there any kind of projects that you think would synchronize well with this type of model that you guys have considered?
Well, we know that Ramses is launching with an L2. The L2 has some like it can work with Sterling as well, from my understanding. So I don't want to put words into anybody's mouths, but we are actively looking into it, and you'll find out pretty soon if it can work out.
All right, very cool. Okay, well that kind of let me get some of these, a couple of these community questions here for you guys. I don't want to ignore them. Hot Sauce asked, what are the missing features that you want to see on Sterling in the near, mid, and long term?
Oh man, there's so much to put into that. I don't even know where to start. We, uh, I do want to see balancer style pools because I always thought they were cool. The 80-20 mix in there. I also want to see tri pools. That's something I've also mentioned to a lot of people that, so that's something I really want to see. I also want to integrate some Kyber swap mechanics where we can have like concentrated liquidity so we can actually compete with Uniswap. And I don't know, man. There's so much I want to see that it's kind of hard to like all put it all together into coherent sentences right now. But just stay tuned, and I promise you, you won't be disappointed.
All right, all right. And then Dow Chemist asked, have you seen any weakness in the Velodrome code base? And is there any optimization that you guys could do?
Why? Are you trying to exploit Velodrome right now? But
he might be.
I
Might be. You never know. Like you said, people are always looking for an angle.
Right? I can't speak about Velodrome's code or Velodrome's code. I think they got the situation under control, and I think they know what they're doing. So don't waste your time trying to exploit them. That's my advice.
Well, I personally am not capable of exploiting any code. So
me neither.
I was having an issue with my monitor yesterday, shutting on and off, and it took me like an hour and a half to figure that out. So
I am the least techy person ever.
Yeah, I'm not even terrible with tech. I just like couldn't figure it out. I don't know what, and then finally just restarted, unplugged it, plugged it back in, restarted it. And now it doesn't happen. The simplest fix, but
that's right. As much fixing I know how to do. Like unplug, plug.
Yeah, restarting usually solves most of the problems. So, all right. Well, let's see. I think that there's a. Andy R. asked, when Sterling is locked, in addition to receiving voting power, are incentives also received on them through liquidity mining, for example? And I think this you get the incentives from the pools themselves, besides voting power, but I guess he's asking if you guys are also doing liquidity mining to give rewards.
Not sure I fully understand the question, but if you have a VNFT, what you're getting is essentially bribes, and you're directing emissions to a pool. So other than bribes, you're not like liquidity mining.
Those are just the rewards from the bribes are the general only rewards I've seen. I wasn't sure if maybe I wasn't understanding that question correctly, or Andy, it's just the rewards you get from the bribes.
So. And fees, I guess to some extent. Yeah. Fees and bribes. I guess you're mining bribes and fees if you want.
Yeah, I guess that's a way to look at it. Individual mining.
Yes, sir.
Right. Well, I think that kind of covers the questions that I had, guys. Just like I said, I don't want to belabor too much of the 3-3 stuff, outside of, kind of base level understanding. But is there, I guess I'll just go ahead and leave it to you, whatever message you guys want to put out about the project.
Woody, do you mind doing that? I really want to go smoke.
Yeah, no, right now it's been a hectic, week and a half, after, a really hectic launch. So, we've really focused on just fixing UI errors, making sure that everything is running smoothly as possible on our first iteration. And I don't know if you guys have noticed on Arbitrum, but the RPCs have also been going in and out nonstop this last week and a half. So it's constantly using Chainlist to find what RPC is working at that time. So I really hope if Arbitrum's listening right now to really sort out your RPC issues, because it's gonna, as more and more people are using the chain, it's just gonna get worse and worse, right? So there's been a lot of increased activity, obviously. And this is like, still a down market. So just imagine, when a lot more users are coming on, it's going to get even crazier. But yeah, we've just, really been focusing on fixing a lot of errors, and we've gotten really far with that. But yeah, just, stay tuned. Make sure that you're always looking in on the announcements channel where we respond to questions in our Discord as quickly as we can, and yeah, just stay in tune for what we're trying to do. Right now, we're just kind of looking to the future of getting a V2 and at least like a fresh UI done as soon as possible. I don't want to give any timelines because um, you know it, in the development world, you might be ready to launch, and then at the last minute there's a problem that you have to troubleshoot. So instead of saying that, like, we think that we're gonna have a fresh UI as soon as possible, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to say thanks to Relentless and DeFi Raiders for hosting us for another AMA, and yeah, just looking forward to the future.
Yeah, very cool. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Yeah, I appreciate your time. Kind of look forward to definitely seeing the V2 and what you guys roll out. And I've seen the work that you've done just since launch with getting a lot of things fixed, being real quick to kind of address some of those things and make it as user friendly as possible and as attractive to your user base. So definitely excited to see V2. So yeah, once again, just really appreciate your time, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot, mate.
All right, you guys have a good rest of your day.
Alrighty, you take care as well.
All right, if you're hearing this now on YouTube for the first time, please hit that like and subscribe. We really appreciate your time and support. Look forward to doing more of these with you. Once again, I'm Relentless from DeFi Raiders. We'll see you next time.